Yeah. Oh. I remember nights I couldn't speak, held my pain so quietly, smiled through the storm, hid the scars, didn't know how strong I was. Broken pieces on the floor, tried to be what hurt me more. Silence wrapped around my voice, didn't know I had a choice. But God saw every tear I cried, every time I asked him why. In the dark he called my name, said, my child, you will rise again. What was meant to break me built the strength inside. Now I walk in purpose, I don't have to hide. Love yourself, you made it through the fire. Love yourself, you're walking in his light. Every scar, every tear had purpose. Now you rise, stronger on the other side. Love yourself, love yourself. From the ashes I found grace, God restored the pain erased. Now my voice won't be denied. I was chosen for this fight, for the women still in fear, for the ones who need to hear. You are more than what you've been. God is writing you again. What was meant to break you built the strength inside. Now you walk in purpose, you don't have to hide. Love yourself, you made it through the fire. Love yourself, you're walking in his light. Every star, every tear had purpose. Now you rise, stronger on the other side. Love yourself, love yourself. He carried me when I was weak, gave me strength to finally speak. Now I stand and testify, what I lived did not define. I am healed, I am free. This is who I'm called to be. Love yourself, you made it through the fire. You made it through the fire. Love yourself, you're walking in his light. Every scar, every tear had purpose. Now you rise, now you rise, stronger on the other side. Love yourself, you are not what hurts you. You are who God says you are. Love yourself.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Trying to do this technical thing. Okay, all right. So we're back. All right. So I really that video is amazing. The words are even more amazing. And I'm gonna let David speak to the video. I'm gonna let him take the floor. But what I do want to share is that this is a safe space and we respect confidentiality to our guests. So you are welcome to listen anonymously. Feel free to take your cameras off. Feel free to remove your names. We are recording. This is live on Facebook as well as YouTube. The purpose that this space was created was to provide a supportive space to support intimate partner violence and or trauma, to connect and help each other cope and share similar experiences. We also educate and share tools to become independent. You can listen, vent, ask questions, or share, but most importantly, heal. Feel free to put comments in the chat. Feel free to raise your hand. But this is a safe space. And Pastor David tonight will not have a problem answering any questions. You can ask anything if you have biblical questions. If you ever wanted to ask a pastor a question live and in person, well, here's your opportunity tonight. He is very biblically based. If he don't know the answer, I guarantee you in less than 40 seconds, he'll have an answer that is biblically based and scripture based, because that's how he rolls. So right now I am going to welcome David, my friend, my brother, because I'm the only child, but I got a brother in Christ, and I am so happy that he is here, and he is so supportive of this ministry and this organization. He's always here. I'm trying to tell you, if I call him and say I need something, or I know all I would have to do is pick up the phone, and him and his beautiful wife will be on the road, and the puppies, they'll come too, because they got backup. They got backup. So I just want him to know publicly that I appreciate every prayer, every encouragement, every talk, every vent, every tear, every holler and screaming, and I'm not doing this no more, and I'm not enough. All the words of encouragement that he has given me. I feel like I have known him all my life. And so I just want to again give you your flowers and tell you how much I appreciate and love you. So guess what? I'm actually going to be quiet. I'm going to go on mute, and I'm going to let you have the floor.
Well, don't feel the need to stay on me. I'm happy for you to jump in and help me out. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk with your folks as always. Like she said, I'm David Collins. I pastor New Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church down here in Valdosta, Georgia, just north of the Florida line on I-75. So if you're in the South Georgia, North Florida area, I know a good place. I may be a little biased, but that's okay.
And he's online every Wednesday night with Bible study.
Wednesday night
and
with
every
Bible
Sunday
study.
he's online. So he's going to put his information in the chat.
Oh, sure.
Can tune in on Wednesday night. His Bible studies are phenomenal. I mean, an hour with real Bible study. So tune in, y'all. Okay.
Try. I'll drop that in the comments as I'm talking. So yeah, I am the survivor of a domestic violence situation. My father was a violent alcoholic and nearly killed my mother when she was pregnant with me. She ended up fleeing, and that saved all three of our lives: her life, my life, and the life of my 9-year-old sister at the time. So domestic violence has always been close to my heart. And so when I met April and heard her story, I was just like, how can I help? What can I do? How can I be a supporter to you? Because it really has defined a lot of the decisions that I made in life. I'm retired from the military, from the United States Air Force. I spent a bunch of time doing a lot of different things. Most of my time I spent as a special agent for the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. So it's like NCIS, but for the Air Force. And most of that, I was a child forensic interviewer. So, I've talked to a lot of people on the worst days of their lives, and found that with God and with a little perseverance and a little optimism, there are very few things that you can't overcome. I say to my church often, and I was at a veterans retreat this past weekend, and I said, let's just remember, I've survived every worst day of my life so far. And I think that sometimes it's a little easier to see that in hindsight, that we're stronger than we think we are, that we are more capable than we believe ourselves to be. And you don't always see yourself clearly. So we're going to talk a little bit about what do you do coming out of a violent situation? What are the steps that I need to make mentally, spiritually, emotionally? Now that I've left a situation that used to define me, now who am I? What do I do? So first thing is that even just making the decision that you plan to leave, making a decision that you're going to do something more healthy for you and your family, it represents a shift in your life. It represents a hurdle that you've overcome, that you're doing something new. And for those of you, if I don't know anyone's story here, I will be looking in the chat if you got questions or comments or anything you'd like me to touch on or mention. But otherwise, I just want to encourage you to that it's taken, and here's kind of the bottom line up front, right? Is that it took a lot of work to make you comfortable in a dark and negative and abusive situation. And it is likewise going to take some time and practice and effort to get you out of that situation and into a more functioning and uplifting and upbuilding mindset. And we just want to help you in that regard. I want to talk about two of the things that an abusive relationship can leave you with, and they are guilt and shame. Two things that can both of those things for different reasons can hurt you and make you less likely to strike out anew and to feel like you're even worth trying. So let's talk about them. Guilt. Number one is guilt. That means feeling bad for things that I have done, feeling bad for things that you have done. It's that, and we would, the Bible talks about that the Holy Spirit on the inside of believers is grieved when we do things that we shouldn't be doing, that we feel a sense of responsibility and accountability because I've done things wrong. Why do I mention guilt? Because there's often, if you look back in hindsight, that there's times that you look and you think, wow, there are things I could have done differently in that situation. If you were in a situation where you stayed longer than you think you should have, you may feel guilty about that. As you look back on the witness that you gave to your children during an abusive situation, what did they see? What did they hear? What did they know? You may feel guilty that you didn't do more, that you didn't leave when you had the opportunity. So guilt is a piece of baggage that commonly comes away from. Also, you may have it. It may be that you were that you were violent in response, maybe as a protective means. That you are contributing to it in whatever way. I'm not saying I don't assume anyone's perfect, right? So you may be looking back on your past choices or your current choices and saying, "Man, I feel guilty. I wish I had done something different." And guilt by itself is not necessarily a bad thing, so long as you turn that guilt into positive steps. If you're changing your life so that you're making different choices, guilt's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, actually. People who don't feel guilt are called sociopaths. People who don't ever feel the concept, don't feel like that they ever feel responsible for what they've done. That is a psychological issue. So don't feel like you can work your way through that. And a big thing that I love about Angels Haven is that it calls in so many people from all walks of life. There'll be people on here, who knows, from all over the country or the world. And what we have in common is that we value each other. I say it all the time. April said it too. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. To those of you who are listening, if you're considering, I want to say something, but I'm feeling bad, I want you to know that off top, I love you. I care about you. I'm here for you. And as someone who's been a special agent, someone who's a pastor, you're not going to say anything that's going to shock me. It's not going to change the way that I see you. Guilt does not change who you are. It doesn't change your value. It's our brain's way of saying, I wish I had made a different choice. And then it helps us to make different choices going forward. Now, the more insidious, the more dangerous piece of baggage, I said there's two of them, is guilt. The other one, though, is shame. And shame is a silent killer. Guilt says, I made a mistake. Shame says, I am a mistake. Guilt says, I wish I had left. Shame says, I'm going to die because that's what all the women in my family do. We sit in abusive homes. That's just who I am. I'll never deserve anything better. I'm fatally flawed. Shame is often, and especially in domestic violence situations, shame is weird, right? Because I'm beginning to feel like there's something wrong with me. And in this situation, it's often because of what someone else has done to me, not necessarily something that I've done wrong. And that is such a it's such a sneaky thing. Brene Brown, one of my favorite lecturers on shame, you check her out, Brene Brown, Brene Brown. She talks about shame a lot, and she says for shame to exist, this punishing, this overwhelming, this burdening sense that I am no good and I am broken and I can't come out of this. For shame to succeed, to survive, you need secrets. That's number one. Hello, domestic violence. Oftentimes, in domestic violence situations, you're carrying around secrets. You're carrying around secrets, maybe under the threat of violence. Don't tell anybody. You better not tell anybody what's happening behind these doors. It may be that you're keeping secrets because you don't want people to know what's really going on. Because you're embarrassed. You don't want people to know. But for shame to exist, you need secrets. There needs to be something that you are keeping in for yourself. The reason that I mention that is when I would interview children, I would tell them, I give them a couple of rules, right? And one of them was, in this room where you're sitting here with Mr. David, there's no such thing as secrets. And they'd be like, what? But I was interviewing them for a reason, right? And I would tell them, if anyone has told you that you can't talk about something, now is the time to talk about it. And our so much of in American society anyway, domestic violence is just now becoming something that people are talking about more openly. I wish more men talked about it. I'm a survivor of domestic violence in my first marriage. My ex-wife was abusive to me. But there's this sense of secret. I got to keep this thing in. And the motivation behind that secret is usually rooted in shame. And it's, if someone sees me for who I really am, they're going to reject me. They're not going to want it. They're not going to love me. They're not going to be here for me. They're going to feel about me the way I feel about myself. And the thing about it, that keeping that secret is what really is will keep you in this kind of prison of your own design that only you have the key for, that people don't even know you're in.
And David, and shame will also keep you in it.
Yeah.
Shame will keep you in it, because statistics say that a woman will leave her abuser anywhere from 4 to 7 times before she actually will leave. I'm a product of that. I left my abuser at least 6 or 7, at least, where I thought I was strong enough and trauma bonding, and then I went back, and all because I almost was playing God. I figured I could fix him, and I figured I could literally love the hell out of him, literally. And that didn't happen. And sometimes shame will keep us there because we so much want that person to change and be a better be a better person, especially if there's children involved, especially if there's a relationship or we live with that person. Shame will keep us there. And so I hope you can speak a little bit about individuals, because we can't just say women, who are currently in the situation, who may be listening now or maybe listening later, that they've gone back. My spirit is saying, speak to the people on the line or who will be listening, that they don't have the strength enough right now to leave for whatever reason, whether it's financial, whether they don't have anywhere to go, or they could be afraid emotionally, mentally, and physically. Speak a little bit about to that.
Yeah, that's the again, that's that the scary thing about shame, is that it convinces you that no matter what you do, you'll never be better than the worst thing that you've ever been through. And y'all, that is just not true. One of the things that I found about in dealing with my own shame, my own sense of lack of self-worth and things like that, is that that when I take away that secretive nature of shame and start involving some people around me who I know are loving and thoughtful and godly and care about other, I watch them care about other people. I found that nobody talks to me the way that shame voice talks to me. I, in my mind, will be like, you'll never be any good. You're just gonna be just like your daddy. You're on the freight train to Nowheresville. But then I'll open up and talk to somebody like April, and she's never said anything even remotely similar to that to me. So this refrain that I've got going on in my mind about whatever this is, you know, and in this case, we're talking about domestic violence. You know, you are not the first to go through it, and you are not the one lost cause. You can come back from this. April is a shining example of someone who was in a domestic violence situation, and she just shared that it took her some time to leave. We're going to talk about that a little bit. That it took a lot for you to get comfortable in a violent and dangerous situation, and it's going to take some time to get you out of there. That's just how it is. Listen, you know, in the same way that people relapse with substance abuse, the same way that it's hard for people to make it past their, you know, their New Year's resolution to go to the gym. It's about building a pattern, and the way that how are you? And my question is always, how am I loving on myself actively and proactively? What am I doing in my life to make the next day better than this day? So yeah, I get it. Sometimes I call it predictable misery. That sometimes when we've been in a horrible situation for so long, it's almost like I know that this isn't what I want to be doing for the rest of my life, but at least it's predictable. At least I know what I'm getting. You know, now that's relative, right? Sometimes if you're dealing with someone who's like my father, who was unpredictable and substance influenced, you know, but I mean that there's a level of predictability that shame will have you thinking, oh, I can't leave, I can't do it. Ooh, Tina Shaw said, financial keeps us here as well. I have flashbacks of red flags I just didn't see. Finances is another one. It's one of the means that people use to control. But again, you know, I think that with the number of resources that are out there, the number of foundations like Angels Haven, and the number of people who are out there like me in April, there are ways to find your way through. And financial abuse, financial control is one of the ways that abusers do use to keep their victims segregated and kept in, because they think, well, you're never going to be able, you know, you don't have another place to live, you got nowhere to go, you know. And I think that, again, having that sense of silence, another one that shame thrives in is solitude. Shame thrives when you are by yourself, thinking that nobody understands, nobody cares, nobody will help. The more you open up, the more you talk, the more you are willing to communicate with somebody about that shame, about whatever it is that's causing you that distress, the more likely you are to overcome it, come out of it, and to get yourself out of that situation. You just got to think, how long have you been defining yourself by this broken person and how they're treating you? You know, you have to get out of that alone place. And I know that's like, it just comes with the territory though, right? That I don't want people to know what's going on because I've got secrets, and I don't want anyone in here because the person who's closest to me often is the one who's doing the abusing. So you've got the witness of one person, and then you've got this uncertainty about the rest of the world. And I'm just telling you that that you are better off to accept help, to accept hope, to accept joy, peace, rather than sitting in that predictable misery. And yeah, I just think let's make sure I missed anything. Good. Okay. So yeah, I want us to think about, how did I get used to being in an abusive situation? And then start building some things out to make yourself strong enough to step away. And if it's a financial question, then it may be that you got to start saving in an account that nobody knows about. It may be that you have some money saved up with a friend. It may be that you know what I mean? That you got to make some steps. That if you're going to overcome, then it's going to be a deliberate choice. It's going to be something that's going to be uncomfortable.
We definitely want to make sure that if you are currently watching and you're currently in a partner abuse situation, we definitely want you to have a safety plan.
Hmm.
And there are steps in place, and that you can put in place, like safe words, for a family member, for a neighbor. I think a lot of different states have. You can call 911 and just say you're ordering pizza, and then the police officers will know to dispatch an officer to your home. But you want to have a safe word with a family member or neighbor, so that if you call them or they hear you as a neighbor and you say, I don't know, ice cream, or I don't know, whatever word you want to use, that they know to contact or that you're in danger. But if you need a safe plan, you definitely don't want to ever tell your abuser that you're leaving, because that can put you in more danger by he knowing. And so if anyone is interested and they want to know the steps on how to create a safe plan, please reach out to me. I'm going to put our phone number in the chat. I'm going to put our email in the chat as well. Please reach out to us because it is very, very important that safety plans are in place, and that you have a plan, that when you leave, to not just walk out the door. And please don't share it with your abuser or anyone who could share it with him. That I want to say that very important. We do want you to leave, and we want you to leave expeditiously, but we want you to go somewhere and be safe. We also can share with you and talk to you about protective orders and things like that. So please feel free to reach out to us via email, via phone. My phone is always on. You can text that number 301-246-3131, and I'm always available to reach out. But you're not alone, and we want you to leave. We want you to be safe, but we also want you to leave safe and be safe when you leave. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and I'm going to put the information in the chat. But you can always, if to reach us via, you can also go on the website and reach us immediately there as well. But for those who are on Zoom, I'm going to put the information in the chat, and then at the end, I'll give our information again in case you need to reach out.
Mhm. So shame is, again, we're talking about this shame, the thing that paralyzes us, that keeps us from making those steps. Remember that it's not, I'm not talking about guilt. I'm not talking about your own reflection on things like Tina was saying, some things that I missed in hindsight. Hey, we're human, and we have a tendency to hope for and to assume the best about all people until we get other information. That's just how we are. We are communal, and we trust. That's what we do. So there's no, there's no shame in having, been surprised that someone who, especially if it's someone who's abusing in multiple ways, who's controlling, financial, who's keeping your ID from you, who has a system of abuse set up, that this is likely a big part of who they are. It's not about necessarily who you are. It doesn't have to be. You get to decide what kind of a life you want to lead. So we've got secrets, we got solitude, and the last one is silence. Abusers love a silent punching bag. They love to know that no matter what happens, you're not going to speak up. And I'm just telling you that the day you start to speak up for yourself is the day you start to see that you are not alone, that your trauma does not make you unlovable. It doesn't make you, that there are people who are willing to help you, even if they're not professionals. There may be friends in your lives or family members that you're thinking, no, I can't, that I already know what's going to happen. I just encourage, especially if there's anyone here who is finding themselves in that back and forth, do not do it in silence. If you're in your head doing it, I encourage you to reach out to somebody. Now is a really good time that you might be able to reach out to somebody. You can reach out to April. She just dropped a cell phone in there. I'll put my cell phone in the chat. You can reach out to me. You're looking for a fresh perspective, but it is so important that you don't allow yourself to become paralyzed by the worst parts of that abuser, that you don't become paralyzed by that you don't become your own worst enemy. Because honestly, the shame is so scary. It's such a dark thing that you'll be looking around feeling bad about stuff you didn't even do. You'll be believing lies about yourself, that you're no good, that you deserved it, you made him mad, you're the reason that it happened. None of that can exist if we got to push back against secrets, solitude, and silence. Well, you're never going to find your way through. And I don't know. I'm just really there right now that we need each other, and that in the same way that you've been comfortable in an uncomfortable place, there is greater for you than that. And Jesus said to the disciples, and I believe it's something that we all need to know. He said, I've come that you have life and have that life more abundantly. And I remember asking April years ago, are you living? Or are you just trying not to die? Are you surviving, or are you thriving? And those aren't the same thing. In the midst of a traumatic event, yes, it makes sense that you survive, that you just get through however you get through. But in the aftermath of that, it's a really good opportunity for you to decide, I want to live. I don't want life to just pass me by. I want to be an active participant in my own life. I want to love myself. And that's not just a feeling, that's something I want to do actively. What do I do to show that I love myself? In the same way that you could probably line out what someone did to show that you weren't valuable, that made you feel all those things, the negative stuff we just got done talking about. Okay, so now what am I going to do to show that I love myself? And the leader came off of mute. Did you want to say something, sis?
Sorry.
Okay. Gotcha. I just saw it pop up. You're all good. But no, we all need to. And this is an ongoing thing, like April said. It's important that we start assessing those different places in our life. How's your social life going on? If you've been in an abusive situation, probably not too great. If there were people who were helpful, people who would speak up, people who would defend you, it's likely that the abuser has done everything they could to push that person out of your life so that you can't have any contact with them. What is your social life is so important. Again, we're communal beings and we need one another. And one of the things that you come away with, if you're looking at a way, how am I going to get my life back on track? In the same way that I got used to just being around this person and their word being law, I can get used to, and I'm not saying you tell everybody all your business all the time, but have a trusted inner circle. And you probably can already pick out 2 or 3 of them that you're like, I can tell this person. They've talked to, and maybe it'd be someone who's confided in you. I find as a pastor that often I give great advice. I'm terrible at taking my own advice. So sometimes you can look at those relationships where you've been able to help somebody else. You've been able to encourage someone. And that might be a really good person to be a resource to open you up socially. Not only that, how are you doing emotionally? Check in on yourself emotionally. How are you handling your emotions? It's not uncommon for people who are in abusive situations to default to anger on their way out, to default to handling things in a negative way. So what am I doing to make myself better off emotionally? Therapy is one really good way to do that. I'm at a therapist twice a week dealing with PTSD and seeing some of the worst things in the world for a living. But it takes time, and you've got to work on that emotional side of you. The other one is mental, and they sound similar, but mental is more, what do you know? What am I studying? What am I reading? Like April said, hey, get with me. We'll get you an exit strategy. We'll get you a safe plan so that you can leave. Did you even know that existed before she said that? Like, what do I know that is helping me to know better? You might need to learn some statistics about domestic violence or some of the common things. One of the things that helped me so much when I started going to therapy was realizing that I wasn't on an island, that I wasn't the only person who had gone through what I've gone through, and that there are good, tried and true ways to come through it better and stronger, wiser, and able to help somebody else. So mental meaning, what do I know? What are the things that I know now? What can I arm myself with information-wise that's going to help me be better at this? So you need to, so you got your social, you got your mental, your emotional. Another one you got to work on is physical. How am I taking care of myself physically? What am I eating? What am I drinking? Here's a big one. Am I sleeping? You got to be able, so many of our mental and physical health issues come from the fact that we don't sleep well. And I understand if you've been in an abusive relationship that sleep may seem like this far off concept because you've been sleeping with one eye open for years. But I'm telling you, sleep is one of those things that you've got to get together. The way that you eat, the way that you live, that finding yourself some positive ways to work out some of those emotions that you would normally stuff down, your physical. And physical also means your environment. That's why it's so important that you find a way safely, as quickly as possible out of that situation. Because one of the things that makes it challenging for a domestic violence survivor is that they're in a situation that's not safe. So we got to get you to a safe place. And then the last one I would think is not last, it just is the last one I'm mentioning is spiritual. And as a pastor, certainly that's where I come in. If you ask me what it's going to be, my answer is going to be Jesus Christ, no question about it. But you need, I think, having a sense that the world is bigger than you is really, really helpful. Having an idea that, that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose, that God can turn a mess into a message. Having an idea that there is something at work other than the thing that's happening to me. That maybe that in the midst of this, not that God chose this abuser for me or anything like that, but perhaps there's something bigger. Maybe there's something I can be doing for my community when I start working on my own healing. And I think that the spiritual side of our lives, we need to make sure we're taken care of. If you're not taking care of yourself spiritually, then it doesn't seem like it matters if you live or die. If you're not taking care of yourself spiritually, then you won't even be looking for a point to it all. You'll just assume there isn't one. So spiritually is a big one, y'all. It really, really is. And I always ask people, what is your, and it comes down to this question: what is your why? Why do I need to survive? Why do I need to get out of this? And the more you spend away from that abuser, the more you start investing in yourself, you'll find more and more reasons why it's important that you be doing better than you've been. Why it's important that you push forward, that you keep trying, that you don't, you know what I mean? That it's so important, and that why can come from a lot of different places. Maybe one of the reasons that that no matter what, I've got to find a way to safety and peace and healing and restoration is I got kids that I don't want to grow up in this cycle. I want to show them that, yes, we've been in a bad situation, but mom or dad took me out of that bad situation. It might be that your why is that, one of the things that we see April doing right now is that part of hers is that she wants to help other people who were in the same situation that she was in. And that why will get you up in the morning. That why will make you try when you don't feel like trying. It'll make you speak up when you feel like being silent. And it's just, think about that. What is the reason that I got to get up? And the reason I mentioned that on spiritual is that sometimes there'll be all kinds of craziness going on around me, and I have a hard time connecting with a why. But I got to remember that I am a treasured possession of the creator of the universe. He loves me and has invested his own lifeblood into my upbuilding. And if Jesus thinks I'm worth dying for, I think I can make it to tomorrow. I think I can, and that's why having a strong spiritual life is so important to this journey, so that you've got a sense that this is bigger than what happened last night or this morning or what, you know what I mean?
And what I tell the ladies, and I can, and if there's any men watching, because Jesus was a king, that makes us royalty. And so when you get off balance and you feel like I'm not good enough, balance your crown. If it tilts a little bit, Just balance it. Keep that crown on so you can so you can remember that you are fearfully and you're wonderfully made. And that if my daddy is a king, that makes me royalty. And sometimes we may get off balance and that crown may slip, but just balance it, right? Just balance it back because he's always there. And when we think about, and I'm not going to preach, David, but when we think about that we're made in his image, then he don't make no jump, right? And so we are good enough and we are enough. And we have to love ourselves because he loves us. If nobody else does, like Pastor David just said, God loves us. So we got to try to remember that. I know it's hard, for those who are still suffering in silence. It's hard because we don't feel it. But when we look to the Lord, which what David is talking about, that inner peace, it does surpass all understanding. And he will give you the strength. I know my favorite scripture is the joy of the Lord has become my strength. And when you think of that, and you think about his healing power and the victory that we already have in him, we can get through anything.
A sense of eternity, y'all, that this matters. And having a strong sense of self really will push you out there. Now, I'll give you this one. We didn't talk about it, but I love to mention it. It's called imposter syndrome. And it's something that I deal with often. It's this idea that I'm a fraud, that if people saw the real me, they'd hate me like I hate myself. Has anybody ever felt that? Like, if you're in a situation where you are constantly being berated, you're being belittled, usually physical violence is preceded by emotional and verbal abuse, and that beats you down. And you may come away from that with this idea that everybody can see through me, and they can tell that I am just I am what they said I am, that I'm deserving of a slap, I'm deserving of a punch, that I am. And then you'll be feeling like, I'm stupid too. They're going to think I'm stupid because I stayed. They're going to think I'm weak because I'm in this situation. And I am encouraging you. One of the things that I advise, and April knows this because we've had this conversation a million times, but when you're being critical of yourself and you've got that imposter syndrome raging, one of the most helpful things for me is to consider, how would I tell somebody who I love if they were in my situation? Would I say to if April called me, now I'll be in my feelings, I'll be upset, I got PTSD, I'll be having flashbacks, I'll be having whatever, I'll be feeling depressed, I don't make it out of bed some days. I get it. I'm like, yo, I don't have it all figured out just because pastor's in front of my name sometimes. But the idea that I'd be in my head and be like, you're no good. What a waste of life. Whatever that angry, that hateful, that shame-filled voice that's throwing a bunch of shoulds at me. You should be better. You should be blah, blah, blah. It's so important that you consider, would I talk to somebody I love that way? If April calls me and says, David, I'm having a rough day, I'm not getting out of bed, there's no part of me that wants to be like, yeah, you're right, you're probably worthless. Like, that don't even feel right saying right now. And I'm just like playing it out, role playing. I don't even like it. It doesn't even feel right. But I'll tell that to me because I've got this thing where it feels like the whole world can see through me and sees that I'm a fraud. Can I just help you if that's you, just to know that you're not alone? And that's not true. You're not alone. You're not the only person who's felt that way. And that is not true. Like, you are not life's punching bag. You don't have to be. You get to choose. You get to decide. And talk to yourself like somebody you love. If your child came to you asking, if they were in an abusive relationship, I don't care if they're in high school. Listen, I know they happen in high schools. Middle schools, you can be an abusive relationship. If your child came to you saying that, would you say, well, you're just going to be just like your sorry mama? You're never going to come through it. That's just who you are. Who cares if you're in a bad situation? Nobody wants to help you. Everybody's just going to think lowly of you. You know, you wouldn't say that to somebody you care about. And that's why it's important that you become that person that you care about. That the way you talk to someone you love is the way you talk to yourself. And that you start prioritizing self, that you get a good godly amount of selfishness going on, that you start doing stuff for no reason other than it is good for me. And which feels like the opposite mindset, especially if you've been in a horrible situation for a long time. But I'm just telling you that that you are not built to be the world's punching bag. You are not somebody's emotional toilet for them to vent all that frustration and pain and whatever is in them. But that is not who you are. You are valuable. You are, April said it, fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God, the creator of the universe, put the whole thing together, has all the power, and he cares about you, knows how many hairs are on your head. So I just encourage you, I'm beseeching you, as Paul would say, by the mercies of God, that you would start investing in you, and that you would get out of that silent, that secretive, that solitary place. Because as long as you're there, you're not growing. You'll be tearing yourself down. And expect, I'll say this and then probably be quiet because we're getting close to 7 o'clock. But I'll say this, expect that you're going to slip up sometimes. Expect that you're going to have feelings that you wish you didn't have. Expect that you'll be feeling bad that you left. And you'll be like, what if they're not okay? Maybe they threatened they're going to take their own life if you leave. Maybe they said that they were going, whatever it was. So I want you to know that expect that there's going to be dark times. Expect that there's going to be challenges that you've got to overcome. Expect that there's going to be days when you backslide, and be willing to already start off saying, I in the same way that you would be comfortable, that you be careful, that you would be patient with somebody you love, please be that with yourself. Tina mentioned feeling that 2020 hindsight, I look back and saw all the red flags that I didn't see. Turn all that into strengthening. Don't let it beat yourself up. I'm not saying you're doing this. You're holding on strong. But maybe there's someone listening who does struggle with that. That's when guilt turns into shame, right? And we want to break that cycle so that it never does. We want to turn guilt into strength, not shame. I want to use the hardest things that I've been through to be like to be the thing that makes me strong again. And you don't have to, you don't have to live that way. And my prayer for you is that you start investing in you. And the reason I went on that whole thing about shame and guilt is because it often starts in our minds. If you can change the way you think about yourself, change the way you view the future, change the way you see your value, change the way you see your contribution to the world as more than somebody's boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, but you've got an entire world that is better because you're in it. You don't have to be pigeonholed into that one place where you're being hurt, where you're being abused, where you're being subjugated, we don't want that for you. And I'm telling you, I don't even know y'all. I love you. And I'm throwing up my hand. I'll put my cell phone in the chat. You can shoot a text to me. Say, hey, I need to talk. I need someone who will help me. I need somebody who will advocate for me. I need someone to say those nice things to me because I can't find the words myself. Holler at your boy. I'm not offering you perfection. I'm not perfect. Like April said, I don't know the answer to every question, but we will find it together. And I may not have been through everything you've been through. That's okay. I don't need my doctor to have been shot. If I've been shot, I need him to know how to take a bullet out. So I am and we can connect you to all kinds of resources that'll help you to make this thing last, make it stick, and to set yourself up for success by taking care of yourself so that you don't feel so dependent on that person and feel like you need to go back.
And that is a game changer. And that's what was a game changer for me. And if I could get out And I was in my situation 15 years. I stayed stuck. And I've now been out about 27 years.
Right.
And so if I could get out and thrive, and continue to trust God in the process, even on my hard days, like Pastor David said, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like every day was peaches and creams. It's not peaches and creams every day now,
Mm.
but I can tell you the peace that I have experienced in this last 27 years, based on the 15 years of hell that I went through. I would take the peace and the quiet over the 15 years of storm raging on a daily, any day. And so, are there resources? Absolutely. Can we provide them to you? Yes. You could be in a different state, you could be in a different country, but there are resources out there for you. Feel free to reach out. For those who are on YouTube, 301-246-3131 is our phone number. You can email us at support@angelshaven.com. And our website is www.angelshaven.com. Pastor David has put his information in the chat. His phone number is 229-299-1932. Feel free to visit him on Wednesdays, on Facebook, and on Sundays. He gives an awesome message, awesome service, awesome Bible study, and I think you can reach him at David Collins on Facebook, not hard. And we're here every last Saturday of each month. Same username, same ID, unless it's a holiday, and then typically I will put on the website. We're either going to meet the day before or the day after, but we're always here every last Saturday of each month at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We also meet every Thursday on Zoom, and we call that the Circle of Love. And we have a guest this Thursday, Pastor Christina Beal. She will be our guest, and we have a couple of different special guests the next couple of Thursdays. Now the Thursday night is a different username and password. If you go on our website, you can get that information, www.angelshaven.com, and go on to up and coming events, and all of our information is there. But again, if you need any help, if you need to talk, if you need prayer, if you need someone to talk to, we're here. We're not just here on Wednesdays. I'm sorry, we're not just here on Thursdays. We're not just here every last Saturday. We're here 24/7. So reach out. Reach out so you can get the resources for your area. And just know that you're not alone, and that you don't have to suffer in silence, and that love should not hurt, and that you are more than a conqueror, and that there is a way out. It absolutely is. And so we're here for your support. We're here to listen. We're here to give you resources. So please utilize the information, and just know that you're more than what they say you are. So I'm going to let David close us out. I would love for him to close us out in prayer.
Sure.
And then we can get back to our evenings. But again, thank you for being here, David. Thank you for taking the time out on a Saturday. I know you're preparing for tomorrow. And so I thank you for sharing this time with us. Thank your beautiful wife for allowing you to share this time with us. Just please send her my love. Give her a big hug for me, and tell her that I am thinking of her often. And I hope to see you guys really soon. But again, if anybody is in need of any assistance, those numbers are there for you. And just know that love yourself first. Do something for you. You know, find something that you want to do, even if it's just soaking in the tub or running some hot water, and just really just being still. Just being still. And if you need a plan, we're here. And just like David always says, we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But we first want you to love you, and allow God to love on you. And so I'm going to let David close us out in prayer. And we'll see you we'll see you Thursday at 7 o'clock, or the last Saturday in May at 6 o'clock.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, April. Yeah, let's just pray. God, thank you for today. Thank you, Lord, for this time together. Thank you for this time of fellowship, this time of togetherness, God. I just thank you. I thank you for April. I thank you for the vision you've given her in Angel's Haven. I thank you for how she is uh, reaching out to the hopeless and the helpless and helping them to find their way out of abusive situations. Pray, God, that you would just deliver to her every resource, everything that she needs to continue to do that important work. And I want to lift up those who have taken that time of their day to be here to listen to this talk. I pray for the ones, especially, God, who are in abusive relationships right now. I pray, God, that you give them the peace, that you give them the strength, give them the courage, that they would stand up and say no more. We pray that they not be burdened by shame, guilt, fear, doubt, but that they would begin to speak about these things with people who they love. Send people their way, God. Send loving, kind, thoughtful people who are willing to listen to them their way. And when the time comes, let them open up and share so that someone knows where they are, that someone can help them find their way out. God, I pray that we would focus on how we can be better to ourselves, God, but the best way we can be to ourselves is to be somebody for you. I pray, God, that you would help us to be a burden bearer for somebody else. Help me, God, to be an encourager for someone. If someone needs to talk, God, I pray that you would give me the time, the space, and the energy. I'd be able to help them through that situation and deliver them safely to whatever resources they need, God. Just pray that you would just be with us now. And as we go back into our normal lives, step outside of this call, I pray, Lord, that you would strengthen us for the days that are ahead. We don't know what tomorrow has in store, God, but we know that you hold our tomorrow. So, Lord, I just pray that you would help us to have peace about that, no matter what we face. Lord, we just love you, honor you, and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
The recording has stopped.
David, I just want